Today's Pearl Harbor Day, right?
Happy Pearl Harbor Day.
And if any, remember, you know, people try to rewrite history, right? Like Star Wars, Han shot first. There's nothing you can do to get around it, right?
Yeah, he was a gunslinger.
Yeah, and I can imagine in like a few years, they'll try to say, "Oh, America shot first," right?
Yeah.
And you got to remember when we dropped the bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? We had been island hopping for 4 years, and we were losing a boatload of guys, right? And
Yeah.
they calculated if we invaded Japan, we would have lost 1 million guys, right?
Yeah.
And now they say, oh well, it wouldn't have been 1 million; it would have been only 300,000. But you think we're going to lose 300,000 people invading Japan, right? So what they
Yeah.
did was they dropped 2 atomic bombs. Yeah, they probably dropped the second one quickly because
Yeah.
we were pissed and
Yeah.
they deserve to be taught a lesson.
Yes.
And,
Well, they did it in the old days.
yeah, and we didn't start it. That's our whole thing. People
Right.
think Americans are lazy. We're not lazy. We just don't want to bother people. And you can prick us once and it's like, all right, maybe twice, but a third time we're gonna put down our beer and get off our lazy chair
Yeah.
and beat the living
Yeah.
crap out of you. That's what we
Right.
do.
Right.
Okay? Because you're right, we do have a good life. We don't want to mess around with it.
Yeah.
But if people poke us too long, we get pissed.
Yeah.
And this is what happens with this election. Because I was talking to my wife last night. As you know, this is all she listens to all the time.
Yeah.
And I keep telling her, yeah, this has happened in the past, but it hasn't happened to this degree where they just assumed that they could get away with it, you know? And this is where these people down their beers, they're getting up and say, Jesus, this is just
Well,
because.
we also never sent out millions of ballots like shopping flyers.
But that's my point. They took
Yeah.
advantage of the situation. They could have
Right.
done like they always had done and, tweak it here and there. But
Yeah.
they bold-faced just did it, And what bothers me is all these videos of people, hiding ballots and bringing them out. They're all seem to be black people,
Yeah.
And say racist or not,
Well,
show me.
Georgia.
Huh?
It's Georgia.
Well, no, I'm talking Michigan. I'm talking,
Detroit.
up there, Philadelphia. I'm talking there. And it always seems to be those people, and it's like, why?
Well,
just
there's a reason for it because counting ballots is a seasonal job, and you make like $25 an hour to do it.
yeah,
And
but
all you
still,
have to do is,
some people have a little bit of honesty. It's just bold-faced cheating, and $25 is a lot of work, a lot of money.
Yeah. But it doesn't take all of them. It only takes a couple.
Yeah.
And that's the thing and this is the thing that I'm frustrated with about it. About with the lawsuits, like when Giuliani loses a lawsuit, the people on Twitter, all go, oh, it's corrupt, corrupt judges and everything, and I'm like, all the judges can't be corrupt. I mean, there has to be somebody that can't stand Trump, but said, well, wait a second here, you didn't do the this or that and everything, and so this is why I'm frustrated by what's going on here. Is I it can't be that widespread a conspiracy, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be a couple of people looking the other way, and you can run with those ballot counters. You can generate 12,000 ballots pretty easily. I mean, I think they count 3,000 ballots a minute or something like that.
Yeah.
All I have to do is run the same stack of Biden ballots through 4 times, and then boom, there's your 12,000 votes.
Yeah. It only takes a couple of minutes.
I don't know. Here's another thing I don't understand about it is I don't understand how there are people that, like prominent people, that keep coming out and going, there's absolutely no evidence of election fraud. And Donald Trump is making another baseless claim of election fraud. And I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm looking. again, it may not be enough to meet the court's standards or something like that. Because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how fucking court works.
Yeah.
It may not be enough, but it's certainly evidence.
Yeah.
How can you walk around and say no, it's nothing?
Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I know. It's
but,
crazy.
Yeah.
But one quick thing is, back to this World War II scenario, right? I was watching this thing last night, how Churchill was so happy when the United States got into World War II, because when they did in 1941, when Germany declared war in the United States, which they did first, right? He said, the war is over, because with the U.S., manufacturing might, he knew it was just a matter of time, right? But here I am, I'm looking at this tag I just got from a mask box, right? And it has, it's a QA seal, and it's all written in Chinese, and it's got a Chinese stamp on it. We've been at this thing for almost a year, right? And we still can't make masks in this country with any meaningful quantity.
I know.
And that's what
the only ones that they do are those stupid, useless ones that have like a Patriots logo or a Bruins logo.
Yeah. They can't make the manufacturing stuff anymore. It makes me wonder. It's like we're screwed. I'm looking at my toothpaste.
I take an antacid pill, because I get stomach acid, and like during the summer, I couldn't get them. I could only get like the 14 pill bottles, which is worthless. And because they're all made in China, and they weren't being made, and that's the problem. And it's like that with all that over-the-counter shit that you see at CVS or Walgreens. That all of that shit is made in China, and it's a huge problem. And that's why I don't understand why people don't see China as a problem.
Yeah.
And this is also why I don't see why the globalist corporate owners don't see this as a problem.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You would think there would be one American corporate leader that would say, hey, you know what? This is kind of effed up. I mean, my daughter just called and she can't get her, cortisone cream that she normally gets, and because it's made in China. Like, how? I don't know. It's a huge problem. I just don't understand how people don't see China as being a problem.
They're a huge problem because they're infecting Southeast Asia and in Africa, right? Because what they do in Africa is they build all these things for these countries, and then they quote unquote loan them money. And then, of course, when the African companies can't pay back the money, they repossess the docks or whatever the infrastructure they built. So they're literally taking over the country. Yeah, they literally.
And nobody is saying anything about that.
No.
Like I've read stories about that, but they're in like publications that nobody, the average person won't read. Nobody's seeing that on CNN. The dumb after work crowd that sits down with a fucking sub sandwich and watches CNN. They're not seeing that. And what China's doing in Africa is they're building fully automated like robot companies. That make everything by robot. So even the people, their cost of manufacturing is going to go down further because the people that they're paying $2.50 an hour, now they wouldn't even have to pay them.
I know. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah. So how's your day going? Would you just go out there?
Yeah, I'm just getting started. It's remains to be seen how it goes today. Everybody, my neighbors downstairs are driving my son and me crazy because they're like total panic about COVID people. They're a little older, and they're probably in their 60s or whatever, and they're not satisfied with the 6-foot social distancing. They need to have like 20 feet, and then they give you this like dirty look, and they're not pleasant. Because when I come out of my house, I'm not wearing a friggin' mask.
That's for sure.
I keep it in the car, know. And they're all. These people are just insufferable. I can't stand them. I just can't stand them anymore. They're just driving me friggin' crazy. They're such idiots. They're the people that think that you get a cold from the cold. Like, I went outside and it was cold out in there. I got sick because somehow my body, no, that's not how a cold
Yeah, I know.
travel.
They're morons. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it. I told
I
you I
know.
have to work with this guy every day who's like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and it's like, 'cause he goes,
How do
"You're
you live
so."
in such fear? Like, how do they get through the day so frightened like this?
See, that's what I ask him all the time. I go, "Well, you live with it." I go, "Well, you can live with it, but I don't understand how anybody else can." It's like,
Yeah,
why are you afraid of everything?
yeah. Is he
It's
afraid
like,
of cancer the same way?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like,
yes, yes.
like
The answer is yes.
that is my nightmare scenario. Is,
Yeah,
sorry, Mr. Rudden, you have pancreatic cancer. That's
yeah.
my nightmare scenario. But I don't think about it really ever.
Now,
You
see,
know?
my nightmare scenario. See, the cancer is sucks, but at least there's an end to it.
Yeah.
My fear is Alzheimer's. Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then I'll live for 20 years and make everybody's life miserable,
yeah,
and that's my fear. That's my
yeah.
one fear in my life. Because dying doesn't bother me. It's like, okay, if I die, I die.
Yeah,
What are you
you
gonna
die.
do?
It's over. You
It's
know?
gonna suck, but at least I'm gonna not bother anybody. But the
Right.
Alzheimer's, because my mother has that, and
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
gonna last for another 5 to 10 years, and
yeah,
she's just completely gone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like it
yeah.
just doesn't help
Yeah,
anybody.
my dad had it, and one of the things that I had the biggest problem with was, um, like, how long is this going to continue? Like,
Yeah,
how, because at the time I had to live with him, you know, and I kept, I was selfish about it. I was like, am I going to be living like this for the rest of my adult life until, like,
yeah,
how long is my dad going to hold on? So that is a nightmare scenario. But yeah. But at least the thing I always wondered about Alzheimer's people, and I often wonder this about like retarded people.
uh,
Like, do retarded people know they're retarded?
I
Like,
don't
do
know.
they
Yeah,
do they wake up and go like, oh man, I can't even fucking do 6 plus 6. Like,
yeah.
I am so friggin'. Or do they have a different view on the world? I
Mhm.
don't know. I've often wondered that.
That's a
And
good question.
that's what I would think about with my dad.
Hmm.
Once the minister came over and he had a conversation with my dad out on the back porch, and my dad, when you would sit down and talk to him, he was lucid. And
Yeah.
so that after the pastor was going to leave, I walked him to his car out in the driveway, and the pastor said, "Oh, he seems really, really good today."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, no, not really." And he goes, "No, I was talking to him, and he was able to have a conversation and everything." I said, "Watch this." And the two of us turned around and walked in the backyard to the porch. I
Hmm.
said, "Hey, Dad, Pastor Fred's here." And he goes, "Fred, how you been? I haven't seen you. How you been?" And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
actually, and I often wondered to myself, like, what happened to the 20 minutes that my dad just spent with him? Like, where did that go? You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
and I just would always think about that. Like, what did he think just happened to him? What
Yeah.
was
I
his
know.
view of time?
Yeah.
Like,
It just
it's a frustrating.
it just didn't exist. That's what
Yeah,
it did to
yeah.
him. It just
Oh,
literally didn't exist.
what else he would do? He would always ask this. My brother never really came over that much,
Yeah.
and he'd go, "Whatever happened to your brother? Did he die?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he would ask this like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, did Stephen die? Did
Yeah.
Stephen die? And I'm like, oh, God, you hear those questions, and it's like, fuck,
Yeah.
it's fucking with your head, like it was
I know.
impossible to watch.
It's so screwed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta run upstairs. I'll talk
On
to you
that
later.
happy note, okay, I'll talk to you. Have a
Adios.
good day.
Yeah, have a good day.
All
Be
right.
safe. Be
All right.
safe. All right.
Later.